Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, I got a lot that I want to say, and it's pretty interesting, so you guys definitely want to stick around and hear some of the things that we have to say in this video. But before we do that, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. So y'all know, people that follow this channel, and thank you guys for following us up to this point, you guys know we've done a bunch of videos talking about the relationship between Kyrie Irving and Nick Wright. It's like a hate-hate relationship. Y'all know how they say they have a love-hate relationship. No, I think this relationship is a hate-hate relationship. And recently, these two guys had a back and forth on Twitter. Why did that entire thing start? Essentially, what happened was this. Nick Wright said that according to some of his sources, he was told, or he heard, that Kyrie Irving would retire from basketball if he was traded. When he put out that tweet, what happened? Subsequently, Kyrie Irving responded to him with a tweet or whatever it is, an emoji, a GIF. People laughed at me and I said GIF, whatever. And in the thing, he had like a puppet master playing with the strings, and he wrote puppet. Then Nick Wright responded to that, basically saying, Kyrie, didn't you say this? If you feel like you're saying something, you need to talk to your rep. But they had that back and forth, and pretty much that's where it all ended, right? That's where it all went away. Now, here are my thoughts. I think this is the backstory between Nick Wright and Kyrie Irving. This is what I personally think. What I personally think is this. I think Nick Wright is a huge LeBron James fan. We've done videos about this, and I don't know if it's between him and Shannon Sharp, who's the bigger LeBron James fan, but I think he's a huge LeBron James fan. And here's what I think. I think because Nick Wright is such a huge LeBron James fan, and Kyrie Irving, a number of years ago, decided, listen, I can't play with this guy anymore. I can't play with him. I don't like the things that he does, whatever it is. Kyrie said, I can't play with LeBron. And Kyrie basically left the team. And he said, listen, if you guys don't trade me from the team, I'm going to get a surgery and I'm not going to play the entire season, basically. Kyrie Irving left. And I think since that moment, Nick Wright has had it out for Kyrie, right? And I guess he just didn't like the fact that Kyrie left his favorite player, right? And ever since then, he's been kind of going at him. I think he's also been trying to diminish Kyrie Irving in the eye of the public, because some of the things that he says about him, like trying to say Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons are of equal trade value. I'm like, what are you talking about? You can say maybe, Ben Simmons is a better fit for the Nets, whatever. But for you to say they have equal trade value, basically you're trying to say that Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons on the same playing field. You got to be joking with me. But I think that's what Nick Wright is trying to do, because by him doing that, essentially what he's accomplishing is he's minimizing Kyrie and at the same time making LeBron James look bigger than probably he really is. This is just what I think, and I think a lot of people out there concur with my line of thinking, given the fact that some of these comments that people have left in the comment section, we do read them. People seem to feel that way as well. But apparently, this thing has gone to a different level, because yesterday I was listening to, First Things First, if I'm not mistaken, the Nick Wright show. He's a co-host now alongside Chris Broussard. And Kyrie Irving was talking about his vaccination status, right? So what we want to do here, we want to play what Kyrie Irving had to say to the media. Then we want to play what Nick Wright had to say in response to what Kyrie Irving said. So before we go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to that kind of exchange. So take a listen to that.
Honestly, I like to keep that stuff private, man. I'm a human being first, and obviously living in this public sphere, there's just a lot of questions about what's going on in the world of Kyrie, and I think I just would love to just keep that private and, handle it the right way with my team and go forward together with a plan. So, obviously I'm not able to be present there today, but that doesn't mean that I'm putting any limits on the future of me being able to join the team. And I just want to keep it that way. So we can keep that private. And if anybody has any further questions about that, please, it'd be the same response. I would like to keep that private. And just please respect that.
Understanding you want to keep this private, and I do think there's, people should have privacy to a certain extent, but people are speculating about certain stances you have and that you're not going to be available to your team and that kind of thing. And just why don't you want to clear that up to some extent?
Yeah, please respect my privacy. Next question.
Like, three most important words there at some point. Nick, this bothers you. Why?
Well, let me start with the positive. I was glad to hear Kyrie say the public sphere as opposed to the public flat surface. So maybe there is some evolution of thought on Kyrie's behalf in at least some areas. Unfortunately, not on this one. Listen, Kyrie, if someone has deeply held religious convictions that prevent them from embracing any part of Western medicine, I will never begrudge them that. But Kyrie goes to the knee surgeon more often than I go to the dentist, so that ain't it. And the reason that Kyrie or Andrew Wiggins or any of these guys are hiding behind it's a personal privacy issue is because they know that their opposition is a centimeter deep. That it's an indefensible position that they specifically hold. And it is not a personal question to say, hey, are you going to be able to play home games this year? Kyrie or anybody is allowed to be a nudist if they'd like, but it would prevent them from being able to suit up for an NBA game. That's where this is. So forget the public health component, forget the 600,000 dead component, forget the responsibility as a leader in any community component, just from a basketball component. This is brutal for your team. Kevin Durant look happy answering those questions? Kevin Durant look happy that it's like, you got it, really? We are the overwhelming favorites. Everyone is healthy. This is the chance to be the best team in Nets history. And you know what? All things work out. One of the best teams in NBA history. And we got Kyrie Irving on IG Live walking around his house talking about how important privacy is. What? And Broussard, this is an untenable position for the Nets. It's not Kyrie's fault in this one regard. There's 27 teams where this would be an inconvenience, but not a devastating blow. But if you play in San Francisco or New York City, not being vaccinated means you can't play home games. And I want your thoughts on this, Broussard, at some point I think you would be better off with no Kyrie Irving than Kyrie just for road games. I don't think you can build a cohesive unit if Kyrie is only, and by the way, it's not like, well, you can play home games in the playoffs though. They're not changing the rules for that. So this is a brutal spot for the Nets. And if it's going to end, Broussard, with Kyrie getting vaccinated anyway, then the hell are we doing? Then what is this other than a look at me, I'm so interesting because I've discovered something on YouTube that the leading virologists in the world haven't discovered in their lab. It's maddening.
Now, in those two clips, a lot was said, especially on the side of Nick Wright. Nick Wright said a lot, and I think this issue is multi-layered. I think this is a political issue. I as well think this is a public health issue, and I also think is an individual rights issue to a certain extent. And I'm speaking from the standpoint for the people that don't feel like taking this thing, right? That's what a lot of them have been saying. And I think Kyrie Irving may be on that side of this particular thing. Nick Wright probably brought up if there's a religious aspect to it. I don't know, right? And I don't want to get too much into it because I don't know what Kyrie Irving is thinking definitively. I can only give you sort of what we think about this thing from afar. And from afar, the way it kind of seems to me is that I think Kyrie Irving has some reservations, and I think Nick Wright is genuinely irked by the position and the things that Kyrie Irving is saying and doing. You could hear it. Now, what we couldn't show you in that video because we don't own the rights to that video, we couldn't show you his facial expressions, but he was generally kind of perturbed by some of the things that Kyrie Irving was saying. And I just think that this particular situation here is that I think this particular situation just highlights the fact that these two gentlemen are not fond of one another. Now, obviously, Kyrie Irving wasn't being questioned by Nick Wright, but Kyrie is fully aware of Nick Wright, given the fact that he even responded to his tweet on Twitter. And obviously, Nick Wright is fully aware of Kyrie Irving. So I just think these guys are not fans of each other. And I just think it's pretty interesting, given the fact that some of the things that Nick Wright had to say, because he had some strong comments about Kyrie Irving, given some of the decisions that he seems to be wanting to make. So what I want to know from you guys is, number one, what do you think about the situation between Kyrie Irving and Nick Wright? Do you think Nick Wright genuinely dislikes Kyrie, or you just think maybe just a basketball related thing? Whatever you guys think, Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoy the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, it's just Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.